Alright, hey guys, welcome back. We're going to continue the pizza theme. We're going to kind of combine backcountry and a short trip on this because the technique's pretty much the same. A few of the ingredients change, but
yeah, I think so.
Let's talk a little bit about storage.
Okay.
Tomatoes. Got these at the grocery store. Sun-dried tomatoes without the oil.
Perfect.
I went ahead and cheated. For a short trip, you can just throw them in a Ziploc bag.
Absolutely.
A longer trip, you may want to keep this package unopened, or does it matter really?
I don't think it really matters too much. I mean, once they're dry, they're pretty shelf stable, and so that's what you're looking for on a longer backpacking trip is what's shelf stable, right? What's gonna hang without refrigeration and keep the best for you.
Yeah. So, you can go with some sun-dried tomatoes, cheeses, especially down here in the south. It can get a little tricky.
Especially in the summertime.
Yeah. This is already getting a little soft.
Right.
We're 3 days. So we came out on Friday, today's Sunday. So this has been unrefrigerated for 4 days now because I packed it Thursday. So yeah, it's a little soft. It's still good under these conditions.
Yeah,
3 or 4
as long
days.
as the package isn't compromised, I think you're pretty good for a few days like that. Once we open it, we're going to want to, probably consume that within a day.
Yeah.
But once you get to the fall and the winter, of course, we're starting to look at, better holding temperatures for these kinds of items. So fall, winter camping, we're better with butter. We're better with firm cheeses like cheddars and things like that. Anything that's kind of drier and firmer. Dan, you mentioned before about waxed cheese. That's a great idea as well.
Yeah, if you can find a small waxed round of like a cheddar, that's going to stay
Absolutely
rock solid.
Yep.
So we have a ginormous tube of tomato paste. It's because Dan couldn't find the small tubes.
But that's okay.
And
How heavy is that?
Yeah, it's
Really?
Yeah, a couple ounces. Another option is granulated tomato or granulated tomato
Powdered
paste.
tomato.
Powdered tomato.
Which works really great to rehydrate to make a quick pizza sauce. That's generally if you're going to be backcountry camping for a week or more. That's the route you're going to want to go as opposed to this. But a few days out, this is much more convenient.
Yep. Well, and once this was sold on aisle, not refrigerated, so it says refrigerate after opening.
Sure.
So especially with the small tubes, you're good. Just don't trust your chef buddy to bring granulated tomato paste.
Well, you have to improvise, right?
Yep.
You got to hit those curveballs when they come. So these small containers that you have here, is also a great way to store some of this kind of stuff as well.
Yeah. And this is all the seasoning that we're going to need for this tomato sauce. So rather than carrying all the individual seasonings, and later down on we'll talk about some seasoning kits to bring, but I just mixed up all that seasoning, put it in a little container. We're going to need sugar and salt for this recipe, so they're already prepped. And you'll also notice that a lot of this is in Ziploc bags, because what I'll do is everything is pre-measured out. It goes in a small bag, and then it goes in a big bag that's labeled, what the meal is, what the day is. So when it comes time to cook,
You're not having a...
Yeah, base camp,
Search.
It's fine to have a big spice rack and you work off of it. Backcountry, it's nice. I pop open the bag, everything's pre-measured.
Indeed.
We got some pepperoni. Again, these are the grocery store. As long as the package isn't opened,
You're good.
they'll keep indefinitely. I think that's about all we've got that we need to talk about storage.
So we're in the backcountry now, so obviously we're not going to carry pre-made dough with us, so we're going to make the dough. There's a few ways to go about this. In the summer in Georgia, like where we are here, it's pretty easy to get the dough to rise. It'll rise without if you look at it funny.
Damn hot
it's
is the phrase
pretty
you're looking
damn
for.
hot. When you're talking about winter camping or fall camping and it's a little cooler, then you need to make a decision about how you're going to rise your dough, right? So mixing in a Ziploc bag is a great way to do it. We can combine all the ingredients right in the bag and kind of knead them together and bring that dough together. And then we can, have that zip shut, and we could put it at the foot of our sleeping bag, for example, overnight. Let the body heat, and in that residual heat in the bag, just kind of let that rise in the winter. This time of year, you could probably make this in the afternoon and be eating pizza in a couple hours. All right, so we're choosing bread flour for this recipe. If you can't find bread flour, you should be able to find it at any well-stocked supermarket. But if
Yeah,
you can't
I get
find
it.
bread flour, all-purpose flour will work just fine. All-purpose, if you didn't know, is just a
Is
combination.
it for all purposes?
It's for all purposes because
Ah.
it's a combination of bread flour and pastry flour. Okay, so it's hard wheat versus soft wheat. Okay, soft wheat's better for making cakes, hard wheat's better for making breads. So all-purpose is good for, you know, a myriad of things. You can get away with all-purpose flour for both uses, but if you want a specific use, you know, a pizza crust, bread flour is the best choice because you're going to get, it's a harder flour, it's going to get better gluten development, so you're going to get better air bubbles in the pizza. It's going to be nice and puffy on the edges. So this is about how many cups?
That's
This is,
according to the package. It is
oh,
one and
it's
1/2 cups.
1.5 cups of flour. Very good.
We cut the recipe that'll be down below. We cut it in half for the backcountry because we're going to be using a smaller pan. We're going to have a smaller group. We're not going to be making pizza for 10 people. We'll be making it for 2 or 4.
Okay,
So the recipe down below for the dough, we just cut it in half for this one.
So this, we have some active dried yeast. This is easily picked up and it's shelf stable.
Yeah, it's
we're not
another
even going to
grocery
use
store
all
find.
of it. If we were doing a full recipe, I'd use the whole pack. If we had a full 3 cups of flour, I'd use this whole package. Right now we're going to use half the pack. So go ahead and open this, and you know what? We're just going to eyeball it. It's not a big deal.
Who was the crazy Cajun TV chef that he'd take a pinch of seasoning and it was always perfect? Justin something or other.
Yeah, Justin
Raging-
Wilson.
yeah.
I guarantee.
And he's always like, boom, oh, you don't think that's a 1/4 teaspoon? Look at that.
Look at that! Look at that! Look at his. Okay, so
I've never heard a Cajun accent done with a Boston
that was
undertone
pretty good,
before.
right?
That's
That
good.
was
All
All right. So, of course, we have our yeast in there. Yeast loves sugar, so we're gonna put just a pinch of sugar. This isn't gonna make it sweet. This is just gonna provide a little bit of
Little
extra food for the just a little pinch in there, maybe a 1/4 teaspoon. Salt, because we want it to taste good. Try not to spill this here. There we go. And we're gonna go ahead and use all that. Okay, that was about a teaspoon of salt.
Salt is our friend.
Yes. So we're just gonna mix the dry. This is all the dry ingredients, and now we're gonna add a little water. We're just gonna add a little at a time until we get this dough to come together.
That's not water. We don't want to say when.
Okay, go ahead.
How much am I pouring in technically?
That's good. So it's probably gonna need a little bit more than that. I'm gonna do is zip it.
And again, the real recipe will be down below. Mus is a professional. He can just eyeball it. The rest of us normal human beings follow the recipe.
Dough is one of those things that really depends on how much humidity's in the air. I mean, if it's too
Dough
dry.
is voodoo.
Give me some more. Beautiful.
At local 3, they actually when you've got an actually dough room, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, it's your office now.
Well, it
but-
was, yeah. It used to be a room where they made pasta, and so look at that. We got a nice dough is coming together. It's not. This is just to keep it clean, guys. You know, we're in the back country. You know, we don't have lots of sinks and stuff to.
Plus, whenever possible, cheat. Why would you want to have to clean another bowl if you don't have to?
Exactly. So I just want to make sure that we don't have any. See, I got a little dry pocket right there in the corner. I want to make sure that we're getting all of that flour in there hydrated. Okay. And once we got a little extra flour, right?
Yep.
So dough's it's coming together. So it's a little bit wet, and we got a little bit of dry spots, but I'm going to put a drop more flour here.
And that has the advantage of also being bread flour.
Yeah, which is nice, but
Not a requirement.
Not a
and
requirement,
You'll
right?
see why you want a little extra flour in a little while. Tonight, when we make our pizza, you'll see why you needed a little extra flour.
all right. See, it's starting to come away from the bag now, which is a good sign that we're getting a good dough.
And you're flouring your hands so the dough doesn't stick to you, correct?
Well, this is a little moist. It's going to stick a little bit. See, I'm trying to mix up all that extra dry that kind of got caught in the bottom. This isn't, you know, perfect science here, guys. There we go. So as you'll see, we're starting to get a nice dough here. It's coming together, right? And so we're gonna go ahead and knead this and work it for a little while until it cleans the sides of the bag. And once that happens, we can let it rise for a couple hours and we'll be ready to eat our pizza in a few hours.
Sounds good.
All right. We're using our 8-inch fry bake. So these guys come in a couple different sizes. This is a more convenient size to kind of take on if you're only solo or you're just 2 people on a trip. This is perfect size. And we may make a couple pizzas.
Yeah.
It looks like this dough is gonna be plenty big to fill this twice. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull the dough out of the bag.
You need some flour.
Yeah, I'll take a little extra flour. This is actually pretty good right here. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and just cut this right now.
Hey, whoa, but get that crap. Oh, that's a great knife. I love that knife. That is an amazing knife.
What an a-hole. As if I was, as if, really. So we good.
No, let the camera see what an amazing knife that is.
Oh, just check the horseradish patina out on that bad boy.
Hey, is that a custom mark I see on there?
It sure is. Okay.
Dogwood Custom Knives for all your cutlery knife needs.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the other half back in the bag so we don't get it dirty or anything like that. And we'll make our second pizza when we're done with the first. So, first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna oil our pan. Just a little bit, okay?
And that's just a little olive oil.
Yep.
You may recognize the container. It's recycled. I love it because it's small, it's compact, and it's watertight. I also put dish soap in that a lot of times to carry my soap.
Yeah.
I used to use the little squeeze bottles, but somehow they always manage to break open in my pack.
on you. Yeah, that's no good.
Yeah, so these 5-hour energies.
Okay. So again, we just place this down, and I'm gonna go ahead and take a little bit of flour because the top's a little sticky, and we're just gonna press out this dough into the pan. Stretch this a little bit.
You know, when we did the other pizza that did really well, I threw it in the air and spun it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying that was the difference. I'm not saying that's what made it work better.
One thing I'll say is I don't recommend the old pizziolo trick in the backcountry because if you drop your pizza on the floor, you're gonna be one hungry dude.
Coward.
Nope. It's all about picking and choosing those battles.
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go.
So by chance, should we have made our sauce by now?
Well, so
We're gonna let it sit. Oh, we want it to sit in the pan for a
We're
minute.
gonna go let that sit in the pan for a second, and we're gonna open the sauce. Get this little pricker on the back here, and we're gonna it's pretty good. So we've just got some tomato paste in the cup. We're gonna add a little bit of water. Just a drop. Great. And I'm gonna see how this thins down. Maybe we might need another drop, Dan. All right, how about some seasoning? You got some pizza seasoning for me, buddy? Okay. Boom, straight in. Okay. Just like that. Oh, that smells perfect, man. You got a little oregano, a little basil.
Yeah.
Give me another little drop of water. Touch.
All right. Yeah, some.
Just a touch.
Yeah, and again, we'll have
Perfect.
that recipe down below. It's a little dried oregano, a little basil, some garlic powder, a little magic, touch of love.
All right, so that's a beautiful thing. We're gonna just.
Look at you being all hygienic.
That's delicious. That's gonna be perfect. All right, so before we go ahead and apply that sauce, this dough's relaxing a little. So one thing when you overwork or work with dough, letting it relax is key, so that it can actually stretch the whole way into the pan. There we go, just like that.
like magic and stuff.
Yep. Because
And you didn't even get sciencey.
Gonna start to pull back on you like that unless you let it relax. So we got it in there. We're gonna go ahead and put a nice spoonful of sauce. Right? Look at that. That's gorgeous, man. Love it.
Now, some stuff we could add to it. Garlic is really stable. You could break out a little clove of garlic right now, mince it up.
Yep.
You could slice it thin. You could put it on top. We already talked about. We got some sun-dried tomatoes here. We got some pepperoni.
So, all right, we're gonna go cheese. If you'll hand me
All right.
the cheese, I will.
And here, try this one.
Okay, we'll
It's
try
got
this.
a little thinner blade. Slices.
right.
It's nice and slicey.
Nice and slicey.
That's a technical term. It's from the knife
Right.
industry.
You made that up. All right.
Well, I'm in the industry and I made it up, so that makes it an industry term, right?
Yes, sir.
And now we're looking almost like the really traditional pizza with instead of the shredded, it was the slices of mozzarella with whole basil leaves.
Oh yeah. This is awesome. This is gonna be great.
Oh, it will be great.
All right. Looks good. Some pepperoni. Because who doesn't like a little pepperoni on the pie?
Another thing, I was talking to Rusty at Pine Street, and he was telling me that with their bacon, you can cook it ahead of time, drain it and cool it, and then stick it in a Ziploc bag.
Mm-hmm.
And 7 days, even in this kind of weather, it's still good. So you could also go with a little bacon on top of here if you wanted to.
Bacon's awesome.
Yeah.
Why would we not do that?
Bacon is proof that God loves us and wants us to be happy.
Agreed.
Well, that and beer.
So we're gonna use the fry bake, and this time we don't have a live fire going. We're in the backwoods. We're using our camp stove here, a little Primus. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna offset. Okay, you're gonna find a log or a stone or something that you can balance the edge of the pan on. And we're gonna go ahead and as soon as we get a little twiggy fire, Dan's working on getting some kindling and stuff together
And
here.
you want to mark the 12 o'clock position, don't you?
Yes, we're gonna mark the 12 o'clock, so we can do that with like a
there we go, that'll
little
work.
corn nut here or whatever the hell that is. So let's go ahead and get the twiggy fire going, and then we'll fire up the fire from below. The reason we're gonna put this little stone or acorn on that 6 o'clock position by your viewing angle is that we're gonna use that as a marker. And we're gonna go ahead and set a timer when we begin our pizza, and we're gonna have the flame coming under just this small portion of the pan, and we're gonna have our little fire going over the top. We're gonna set a timer for a minute, and each minute we're gonna go ahead and rotate our pizza a quarter turn, just like that. And that's gonna ensure that we get a nice even bake on the bottom side, and while the top gets nice and melty and brown. So let's go ahead and get a little fire going.
All right. I wonder if you could use a fuel tab instead of a twiggy fire.
Maybe I've never tried doing it that way, so it would be worth experimenting with. I don't see why not. Mix up some Bisquick or something, and cheapo, and just try to bake it off and see how it goes.
We'll have to try that. We're gonna set a
Okay.
timer for 1 minute.
So we got a little twiggy
And
fire
start.
going, and we got our heat on low down here. And Dan's timing us, so we're just gonna go ahead and
50 seconds.
just gonna wait.
Yeah, I'm getting
And,
spoiled. I don't have Jackson here to count for us.
I know, right? He was
The-
doing such a good job.
The
of
kid's
that.
got one job. One
He's a
job.
talented kid. He really is. So here we go. We're on our third rotation. Little nuggets making its way around.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna let this acorn get back around to 6, and we'll check it out. That would be a 7-minute bake again, and I think that's what we did last time.
That's pretty damn sexy.
What do we think? Want to go a little bit more, or drop more?
All right.
The puppy that died.
Because, every time you put sugar on your grits, a puppy dies.
Right. I heard that somewhere. Okay. All right, so we had it for, I think it went around
6 minutes?
twice, so
Or
it was
8
about
minutes.
7 to 8 minutes or so, and we're gonna go ahead and pull this lid real quick, very carefully, so we don't get any.
Oh,
Stuff.
look at that.
we go. This is a beautiful
There's a
back
plate right behind you.
backcountry pizza. There we go. There it is. Just need to let go. Just let go.
Let it
pizza.
go.
Let it go.
Oh,
Neapolitan style, very hot.
oh, that is sexy.
Woo.
You know, that would make up for walking 8 hours in wet socks.
Yes, sir. Yum.
Let's eat this before Jack gets back.
Okay, quick. Thanks for watching. Come out and see me at Muss and Turner's, Local 3 and Common Quarter.
And remember, a little bit of prep. All of these ingredients came from the grocery store. Not terribly complicated. 7 days into the trail, you're eating fresh pizza. Because, like we like to say, just because you're living simple doesn't mean you got to eat simple.
Correct. Cheers.
Thanks, guys. See y'all next week.
Thanks, guys.